Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrikster. Here to bring you some more Pokemon Go GBL battles. These battles are played in Love Cup. I'm not one to pass up an opportunity to run Shadow Charizard, so continuing to play in that league. So, I am opening with Shadow Charizard. In the back, I have kept Electrode, and I've actually swapped out Slowbro for Medicham. The reason behind this was because I was starting to, as I've been climbing, I'm starting to see an increase in the number of Lickitung, both in the lead and in the back. And, Shadow Charizard, not really great against Lickitung. It just is too spammy, and you can't really survive more than one Body Slam. And, Slowbro, takes super effective lick damage and just has a terrible, terrible matchup against Lickitung. So I wanted something that was at least more neutral against that. So decided to put Medicham in the back. Could also have gone with Scrafty, and every time there is an actual Lickitung save swap, and I don't have Scrafty, and instead have Medicham, it really does hurt me. Like, it feels pain. But yeah, using this, I have run Shadow Charizard consistently. I have been moving my backline around depending on what I see and what I feel like playing. I have experimented with combinations of Electrode, Scrafty, Medicham, Slowbro. I tried using my own Lickitung back there. They all seem to perform fine. I think Shadow Charizard is just such a solid lead and actually very versatile Pokemon, considering that, even if you lose lead, most of its counters can be threatened by Charizard's charge moves. I guess the exception would be a Lomomola. So I definitely wanted to make sure that whatever it is that I did keep in the back, I would have two good answers against the Lomomola, because everything else, Shadowzard can do a pretty good job of threatening with energy. So even if I lose lead and lose switch, sometimes you can come around and flip the game just by, managing your energy really well. Anyway, next up against Toshi, Charizard against Scrafty, obviously a fantastic matchup for Zard. Switch out into Slowbro, and I am just going to bring Electrode out. We ended up desyncing a little bit when I swapped in, so I'm forced to throw a little bit early over here. The game lags a little bit, but my opponent decides to let it go, and going to bring Scrafty back out. So Electrode with a little bit of energy can do a pretty good job of threatening Scrafty. I was going to, if I built up to the Hyper Beam, they would be able to throw a foul play and take me out first, and I would actually prefer to just at least do that damage. My opponent has now resolved to counter me the whole way down, so I'm going to be able to get off this second discharge, force a shield out of them. That is fantastic for me. And since they have about 2 foul plays, I'm actually going to have to send in Medicham here to absorb this energy, because the foul play hurts Charizard quite a bit. And Medicham, not really so much, because Medicham is just super thick. Luckily for me, there is a Talonflame in the back, so yeah, my opponent is going to switch out, and now I have the alignment that I need. Charizard up a shield, really easily can shut down Talonflame, as we've seen, Talonflame in the lead so many times. The Talonflame baits, because Talonflames always do against Charizard. I have seriously yet to not shield and have not been Brave Birded yet. So it's probably safe, relatively speaking, to let the first Flame Charge through, but I know this is just like Schrodinger's charge move, and as soon as I don't shield, it will turn out that there was in fact a Brave Bird in there. So, in the interest of avoiding that situation for myself, continuing to shield and just be super safe. That's all I really needed to do to win that last game anyway. All right, Zard into Ariados. Ariados is actually not as strong a one lead for Zard as you might expect, just because it can threaten with its fast move, with its charge moves just being so spammy. And Zard can only actually survive one cross poison. Second one would take me out. He ends up switching an Electrode, and I probably should have sent out I definitely should have sent Medicham out, because Medicham is countered by Ariados, so I'm setting myself up in kind of a dangerous position here. Like, it really would have been better to send Medicham out into this Electrode. But I was still a little bit used to having Slowbro in that slot, so my muscle memory kind of got my Electrode sent out. Luckily for me, shielding and baiting went my way, and having foul play makes the Electrode matchup a lot safer to deal with. Ariados is going to come back out. They only get 1 Poison Sting, so not even a ton of energy gain. Switch out, and my opponent has a Lomomola back there. I'm going to bring Medicham out, Medicham up a shield. Obviously, we'll be able to take out a Lomomola, and my opponent resigns the game. They do not want to deal with this anymore. So yeah, that's GG. But if I had sent Medicham out, I would have had Electrode in the back for a Lomomola. It would have been even better. That's really what I should have done. All right, Zard into Melodic. So Melodic is usually running Dragon Tail. If they were going to run it with Waterfall, then you would probably just run a Lomomola instead. Regardless, it is 5 Dragon Tails or 5 Waterfalls to get to the Surf. So while I could have shielded and probably won switch, even, or forced my way into switch advantage at the expense of 1 shield, I decided to be fancy and try catching the move on Medicham, and I am greeted with an Ariados, which is a pretty strong counter to Medicham. Now that I've been hit with a lunge, the Psychic won't even KO, so they would be kind of safe to let that go, but they decide to shield it anyway, which is a sensible move. Ariados now is in a position where they get to farm the whole way down. If they had taken the Psychic, they would have had to throw something earlier, so maybe a good call on my opponent, and they get the boost, so that's bad for me. They don't decide to throw their move right away. If they had, I would definitely have shielded it. They shield my Dragon Claw and discover that Zard wins CMP against Ariados. I am going to shield this just because I don't want to send Electrode out because I know I'll end up getting debuffed. At this point, the Ariados is at back-to-back already, so I am going to let this Cross Poison go. It's going to take out Zard. Bring an Electrode. They throw 2 Poison Stings. I'm able to sneak in a Volt Switch, which helps a lot. And I'm going to shield this Lunge because Lunge does quite a bit, especially because the Ariados was already boosted. They switch out to transfer the Volt Switch onto their own Electrode, and I am going to throw the Foul Play. This is a Shadow Electrode, but it doesn't really change the matchup at all. They would still go down to 2 Foul Plays regardless. I'm forced to throw this Foul Play here because if I threw 1 extra Volt Switch, they would be able to potentially reach a Hyper Beam. So now I need to leave myself with some energy, though. So I undercharge this Foul Play a little bit, and I'm successful, sort of, in that I can get 1 extra Volt Switch through, but I really needed to get 2 Volt Switches in, because at 2 Volt Switches, they would have gone down with the energy for another discharge. Because I didn't, it takes me 2 Volt Switches to get to this discharge, so I end up eating 3 Dragon Tails, which puts me super low. Ariados comes back out. They're not able to reach a move, but we simultaneous KO. But off of a Melodic lead and Ariados boosting after taking out my Medicham, I'll take that tie. That's a pretty good result considering how I got there. All right, Electrode safe swap. This time I'm going to correctly send my Medicham in. Could have thrown the Psychic here and lost CMP. They reached their discharge one before. I am going to shield this because I'm not sure why. That couldn't even have been a Hyper Beam yet. Like they were still 1 away. Going to throw this Psychic and they let it go. So that's fine with me. Now Ariados is going to come back out, and I've seen Ariados into my Medicham a couple times. Going to throw this Psychic. Before I do, they are going to debuff me. Like, Ariados has seemed to kind of always shield the Psychic, so I actually would probably be relatively safe to throw the Ice Punch, but, at least if I throw the Psychic, I am sure to either get a shield or do tremendous damage. I'm just trying to avoid the worst-case scenario of me baiting and them no shielding. Gonna throw that Cross Poison, and they take me out. At least they don't boost, though, so that's something. There is a Scrafty in the back that they switch to, so I'm going to stay in with Zard. Zard is a stronger counter to Scrafty than it is to Ariados. So just going to throw that Dragon Claw. Was really surprised that they ended up no shielding. I am going to have to shield this. It is the Foul Play, so good for me. Unfortunately for them, means I'm going to be able to wing attack the whole way down. I'm going to be able to end with back-to-back Dragon Claw. So I'm actually going to switch out here to catch the move rather than stay in and win CMP, because since I have back-to-back Dragon Claw, now I'm storing up 2 Dragon Claws, and if I need to, I'll still be able to throw 1 charge move. But getting to send my Electrode out ahead of time to catch that first move means that Ariados will have to end with energy if they're going to be able to stop Zard from getting out both moves. So it just put them into a position where there was like no way to continue, and they let the discharge through because my opponent could see that they were not going to be able to take this game. So that's GG. Yeah, Strong set, 3.5 out of 5, not bad. I get a Chinchou. It is what it is. Yeah, so just going to catch that. I gain some points, go up to 3189. I have done quite a bit of climbing since the last video. All right, next set up against Gundog TV. Charizard into Wigglytuff. Obviously a pretty fantastic lead for Charizard. You severely outpace. They switch into Lickitung, and I am going to send out Medicham. We lag a little bit here, which definitely doesn't help. It looks like my opponent got a couple of free licks because my health bar decreased by quite a bit more than theirs. I'm going to no-shield the first Body Slam and throw one counter, and then I'm trying to throw this Ice Punch. Probably would make more sense to just throw the Psychic, because if they no-shield the Ice Punch, it's super awkward for me. Actually, this is definitely one of the matchups where it's a lot better for Medicham if you have Power Up Punch. I'm able to counter Lickitung the whole way down, luckily for me, and end with some energy. Wigglytuff is going to come back out, definitely, and I am going to throw this Psychic. Car alarm in the middle of my video, because New York City, thank you very much. And Wigglytuff is going to charm me down. So, I'm going to send Zard back out. This Wigglytuff got some energy already. I'm going to throw my Dragon Claw here. It's not quite enough to take Wigglytuff out, but it will leave them really, really low. They shield to preserve their energy, and then switch out into a Lomomola to try to make a catch. I was not throwing yet, though. And yeah, I'm going to be able to bring out my Electrode. All I need to do is throw this Discharge. If they shield, great. If they no shield, great. They no shield. So after that, I am just going to be able to farm the whole way down. Gonna have to shield this Psychic. I mean, I would survive it, but that would leave me really, really low. Actually, I think I would end up getting Waterfall down if I no shielded. So had to shield. Wigglytuff is going to come out. I was kind of hoping for a CMP, but that is not what happened. They decided to straight Charm. Sneak in their Charm, I throw one Discharge. They're not quite going to survive that, so they're going to have to throw here. But even if they had managed to save this energy, it wouldn't have made a difference because Zard already has the Blast Burn loaded. So just going to protect my Retinas and Blast Burn the Wigglytuff. Managed to take that game. That is a GG. All right. Next up, against Officer TB Pro. Charizard into Lickitung. So, as I've climbed, I've started to see a higher concentration of Lickitung, which is, concerning. Medicham is pretty decent against Lickitung, but I don't like to switch Medicham into Lickitung, because if you switch Medicham into Lickitung, it gets super effective licks, and then it'll switch out later afterwards. So it really is just, it would be very efficient for my opponent if they were able to build up energy on Medicham and then unload that energy later on something else. So better for me to just send in Electrode, who doesn't actually win the Lickitung matchup, but at least, they can build up some energy before they switch out, which is what they did. But they're going to be forced if I can, get alignment, which I'm able to just barely do in this match, which is fantastic for me. They're going to send their Lickitung out here, and I'm going to send out Medicham, and this is a lot better than the opposite way, because if they were unloading Body Slams into Electrode, and had charged up on Medicham, it would be much, much worse. This way is fine. The licks are doing pretty hefty damage. The Body Slams, not so much. I can let one of them through, no problem. I'm going to shield this one because I don't know what else is back there yet. And I should have thrown my Psychic immediately, and I didn't because I did not believe that they were already at another Body Slam, but I had very much underestimated how much energy the Lickitung had. So here I'm going to throw an Ice Punch. This is, again, one of the matchups where it would be a lot better if I had Power Up Punch and I'm able to counter the whole way down. They do not end up switching out. Slowbro comes out, and I'm going to throw this neutral Psychic. Being Psychic Poison is going to hit for neutral. They let it go, and I'm going to switch out into Charizard. I just need to be able to get, some wing attack damage off. I'm going to throw this Dragon Claw to eat up their last shield in case Medicham's able to reach an Ice Punch. And this Slowbro is so incredibly low at this point. They're going to take me out with a Sludge Bomb. I needed to get in one more Wing Attack. I'm going to try to counter down, but they double resist my counters, and I needed one more counter. But I did not quite make it. Really, really well played by my opponent, and they managed to take that game. That was a GG, though. But I probably should have gone double Ice Punch, for what it's worth. Or, had Power Up Punch on my Medicham. I think that would have helped also. All right. Charizard into Slowbro. So this is a fast move denial based matchup. If you can fast move deny a confusion, then you get to the second Dragon Claw when they get to their Confusion, and you win CMP, so I'd be able to get that out. I switch out into Sylveon to catch. They sneak in a Charm. I try to build up a Dragon Claw before switching out. I switch out when I'm still one wing attack away. So still important to save Charizard for that, because at least if I end up having to bring it out into a Slowbro or something with a 4-turn charge move, which there are quite a few of, like Electrode, Slowbro, I guess Talonflame would be 5. A lot of long charge moves in this game, in this cup. Zard would be able to throw one wing attack and then throw the Dragon Claw before one of those moves would connect. So I wanted to save it at least for that. Slowbro is going to come out, and because I snuck in my Volt Switch, I'm going to shield. Going down 2 shields, but at least I have energy on Electrode. Don't know what's back there. Turns out to be Medicham. I'm going to throw this Discharge, and I'm not going to be able to get to a second move, so I'm just going to switch out right away to Medicham. I don't want this Medi to be able to farm me down. And I'm just going to start spamming out these Ice Punches. I'm hoping that he just assumes it's Power Up Punch and decides to not shield. But even if it was a pup, he would kind of have to start shielding things because the counters are going to add up and start doing too much. So still a 2-shield Medi against my no-shield Medi. Got the first shield on the first Ice Punch. I'm going to be able to get this second Ice Punch out before they get to their next Psychic. And my opponent definitely made a mistake here in that they throw the Power-Up Punch here. They've got the Psychic and could throw it and take me out. But, I mean, even if they did, Zard would get one wing attack, survive the one counter, and be able to blast and be able to Dragon Claw and take this game. But they really should have just thrown the Power-Up Punch first, and then the Psychic would have made a lot of difference there, or sort of. I would have had to finish the game with Zard instead. That's what would have happened, but it would have looked closer. All right. Next up against Javi Romero? I didn't see. Charizard into Druddigon, who is definitely a very red Pokemon for sure. Definitely belongs in this cup. So I am going to CMP them on their 4th Dragon Tail. That's when they get to their Dragon Claw, and I can throw mine. Then I'm just going to outpace them and get to my second Dragon Claw after 3 of their Dragon Tails. Just kind of have to be careful that they don't catch, but you're throwing in the middle of a Dragon Tail, so it's really pretty safe to just spam this out. And they decide to let it go. Normally they end up shielding that. They didn't, so kind of tells me that maybe they don't need alignment, or maybe they don't think they need alignment. Scolipede in the back, and they end up switching into Ariados to try to catch a Discharge, and I end up throwing the Discharge anyway, so, I get a refund, but don't end up using it because I spend on the Discharge. And then I'm just going to throw my next Discharge here. And, yeah, I'm going to stay in for a bit and just do what damage I can, wait until after they debuff me in order to switch. And they actually throw a Mega Horn instead of a Lunge, which is all right. That's fine with me. So if they have Mega Horn, they definitely are also carrying Cross Poison. Don't think they would run a Double Bug moveset. So don't have to shield this, and they can't even debuff me. So I am just going to save my shields because I know the Scolipede switched out with a bunch of energy. Throw one counter, I am going to shield this. If it's an X-Scissor, fine, it wouldn't be able to KO me, and I'm just going to spam out my Psychic. That is going to take out the Scolipede, and I'll be able to counter down Ariados in the back. And my opponent resigns the game, escapes with their 2 Pokemon still alive. So, very kind trainer, no reason to let your Pokemon stay in and get pummeled if you don't have to. All right, Zard into Scrafty. So, fantastic lead for Charizard. Sort of. I mean, you do have to shield before when they throw their... they actually switch out and make a catch. Catching the Blast Burn on their Talonflame. I could... because they didn't sneak in a move or anything, I'm able to just Wing Attack and throw this Dragon Claw. And they're going to end up having to shield this. And then since it was a desync CMP, I'm able to switch out even and try to catch a Brave Bird on my Electrode. They were actually just throwing the Flame Charge, which, I guess probably would have done enough damage to Charizard anyway. Charizard was already kind of low. Scrafty going to come out. The Scrafty already has a Foul Play loaded. I am going to let it go. Didn't want to end up shielding a Power-Up Punch. They built up a little bit more energy, and I'm just going to toss out my Discharge, see what they want to do, and they decide to shield, and that's fine. Switch into their own Electrode. I'm able to get to the Foul Play, but not quite able to throw it. So this is fine. The Electrode has 2 volt switches of energy, but I'm going to send out my Medicham. They're throwing their energy right away. This is just a discharge. I definitely survive it, but it's going to hit harder than a Foul Play will, I think. So, yeah, going to shield that one. They get to their next Foul Play, or their next discharge, and I am going to shield this one also. I have plenty of health and energy. And I'm just going to throw one counter, then throw the Psychic in the middle so they can't catch my Psychic on their Scrafty. Scrafty going to come out, and I'm just going to be able to counter the whole way down. They're going to reach their Foul Play, but it's not enough. And yeah, I could, even if I had to, I could easily finish this game with Charizard, who's getting pretty close to a Dragon Claw, and that is GG. Yeah, Scrafty lead, fantastic for this iteration of the team, just because Medicham's so strong against Scrafty, and Zard so strong against Scrafty. So that is a 4 out of 5. I will take that. I get a Fortress, which I'm fine with. I definitely need a lot of XL candy that I'm nowhere near having enough of yet to make an XL Ultra League Fortress. So yeah, not a Registeel. The legendary encounter rate seems awfully low, but not a Chinchou, so I guess I'll take it. Next up against Francisco Isco. Scrafty in the lead, one of my favorite leads for this team. They switch into Lickitung, one of my least favorite safe swaps. I am forced to send out Medicham. Could also send out Electrode, who would definitely lose switch advantage, but you know, since I have 2 counters in the back to Scrafty, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'm just going to go straight Psychic this time, and they shield. So that's unfortunate. I am going to Mirror Shield here, and I'm just going to have to spam out my Ice Punch. If they decide to no-shield this, I think I can just counter the rest of the way down. They decide to shield, though, using their last shield, so able to force switch advantage against my Medicham because I do not have Power-Up Punch. I'm going to bring Zard back out, and that's fine, and I'm going to let the Body Slam go because I assume they have a second counter to, like, you know, Zard/Talonflame, because when you lead Scrafty, you need 2 answers to Talonflame, which is pretty much the same as having 2 answers to Zard. And it is actually a Galarian Slowbro, which is not a Water type, and so it does not actually resist Fire. Blastburn going to go through, one-shotting the Slowbro. Scrafty going to come back out. I wing attack as much as I can. Not actually able to reach a Dragon Claw, which is a little unfortunate. Would have been very gratifying. Going to send out Electrode, and I am going to no-shield the first move. It is a Power-Up Punch. That is fine. Going to throw as many Volt Switches as I can before I end up throwing the Discharge. Another Power-Up Punch bait, that's fine. Throw one more. And now I'm going to launch this Discharge. At this point, the Scrafty is pretty low on energy. This isn't going to KO, but one more Volt Switch is enough, and I managed to take that game. That is a GG. Probably should have switched out of Zard when I realized I wasn't going to reach the Dragon Claw. But, like, doing the wing attacks of damage, that definitely helped. All right. Charizard into Scolipede. This is a pretty good matchup for Charizard. Scolipede can reach only an X-Scissor after 5, so it's not nearly as threatening as the Cross Poison from an Ariados. And it also takes a ton more damage from Wing Attack because Scolipede's pretty squishy. So I am going to shield this Icy Wind bait. Sea King knows Icy Wind and what is it called? Drill Run. I undercharge. So I'd be able to build up some energy on them, and apparently lose CMP here also. So decide to no-shield this, what turns out to be an Icy Wind. Going to throw this Discharge. Not going to undercharge this one. Definitely, you know, I'm too low at this point. I've already been debuffed enough that I'm not too sure how to go about winning that. I'm confident that there is an Alomomola back there, so I'm just going to send Medicham out to start getting a jump on energy. Because I'm anticipating having to take out Scolipede and the other Pokemon in the back with just Medicham. I am going to end up shielding this move. And it is a Sludge Bomb. So good shield by me. Sludge Bomb from Scolipede would hurt so much. Scolipede hits really hard because it's squishy. Same principle as why Charizard hits really hard because it's so squish. And there is, in fact, an Alomomola back there. So that's unfortunate, sort of. Medicham is not actually the best counter for Alomomola. Like, goes even-ish, you know, depends on shields and stuff. I get a defense drop, which is nice, but not necessary. As you're going to see, Alomomola is going to throw the Psychic, which I will barely survive, but I'm going to switch out into Zard right away. Keep building up my energy. Get to the Blast Burn. Dragon Claw would have done plenty, but just wanted to show my opponent that I would have been able to win even if I hadn't gotten the debuff, so I wanted to throw the Blast Burn just so that my so that my opponent would know that it wasn't, that I didn't win just because of the luck of getting the debuff. I wanted them to know that I was going to win anyway. I don't know why I'm like this. I'm sorry. All right, Scrafty in the lead. Fantastic lead for me. Just going to throw my wing attacks. Ferrikster. Why are you like this? Oh, please subscribe, by the way. I don't say that in every video in the middle of the video, but last time I did it, it totally helped. I went from I picked up like 1,000 subscribers from the one where I just asked people to do it. So yeah, do that. Leave a comment. Those things help me out a ton. I love how I ask the favor right after I'm done being unbearable. I mean, really, like, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. So Scrafty's going to come back out. I get my Volt Switch in, and I'm going to let this go. If this is a power-up punch, then I'm going to be able to undertap and throw my discharge, except that the game lags, so I die instead. Because, I don't know, karma in advance, I guess? Wow, I picked a great game to be unbearable in, and then got karma'd in-game, even though this happened in the past. Oh my gosh. So Ariados is going to come back out, and I am not going to bait. Just going to throw my Blast Burn because I'm not going to be able to reach a second move. And yeah, end up switching out into Medicham. This is fine. I should really have shielded this first move, expecting it to be the lunge. Like, lunge hurts quite a bit. Going to throw this Psychic as soon as I have it before I get debuffed again. And as long as I can get the damage from this Psychic out, Ariados will be low enough that I should be able to counter down. I get the defense drop. I'm going to no-shield this also. Turns out to be another lunge, so expensive. And I'm going to reach this Ice Punch, and that is going to take the Ariados out. So, that's a GG. Not my best commentated match, but that was fine. All right. Next up, against Corsoul 08. Charizard into Ariados. So, pretty decent matchup. They switch out right away into Seeking, and I switch out into my Electrode. So I think this is the same team that I saw 2 games ago where I managed to win it, and I think in this one I managed to lose. So gonna shield the Icy Wind bait again, because, why not? They sneak in an extra Poison Jab. So this Seeking is pulling ahead, and, Seeking already, as I have learned recently, wins CMP against my Electrode. So last time I no-shielded this and it turned out to be an Icy Wind. This time it turned out to be a Drill Run, which is pretty bad for me. Not being able to get in the extra Volt Switches meant that this Seeking was actually had so much energy. I ended up bringing out Medicham because that's what I did in the last game, and it served me pretty well. Unfortunately, here I'm going to end up eating a Drill Run first, so that's unfortunate. I do end with a Psychic, but unfortunately, since my opponent has a shield, and Ariados outpaces Medicham by so much, I throw my Psychic, which gets shielded, and I am kind of going to have to shield this because I'm expecting there to be an Alomomola in the back. I get to my next Psychic. This is not actually going to be enough to take Ariados out because I've already been debuffed. And, oh, actually it does, and my opponent switches out into a Alomomola, but at this point I am much too low. I'm going to be able to get to a Blast Burn. Never mind, I don't even reach it. They get to their Psychic. 7 waterfalls to the Psychic, so they managed to get there, and yeah, I try to get out, but I get to see my Medicham faints anyway. So, rough for me. I think, actually, that when you see the Water typing and hear the Poison Jab, that's what indicates that it's a Seeking. I think the play is actually probably to switch out into Medicham, who has a much more solid matchup against Seeking than Electrode does. Especially, if it's an Ariados in the lead and I'm expecting there to end up being an Alomomola in the back. That would be much, much better alignment, and it's a lot more difficult for Seeking to take out Medicham. So I'm going to throw this Discharge against the Ariados. They let me throw an extra Discharge just so that the Ariados would be a little bit lower before taking me out, or they lag and this wasn't like a big brain play. Could be either of those things. Just, either they were trying to leave Charizard with less energy to farm. They throw a Lunge, which is unusual. I'm going to switch out right away to Medicham because I need Zard to have more energy than that if I'm going to be able to threaten the Crustle. I get in a few counters, so this Crustle is definitely in Dragon Claw range already. So if I can end this matchup with some shields down. So I'm going to throw my Psychic because I don't want to risk not getting the shield. But would it have been helpful to maybe not do that? Maybe. I'm going to no-shield this, anticipating an X-Scissor, and it is. Throw some extra things. I should maybe have tried to shield this and throw the Psychic, but the thing is, my switch timer was getting closer and closer to being up, and I need to come out and farm this down with Charizard before my switch timer, before the switch timers run out and they're able to switch in their Crustle. I'm watching it very carefully. I try to spam out my Dragon Claw before they're able to sneak in a move, but they're able to sneak in a Smackdown, so that's going to take me out. I had the energy to be able to take out Crustle and a shield to spare, but just wasn't quite able to do it. They were able to sneak in that Smackdown, and that was the deciding factor in this game. So that's GG. Well played by my opponent. So I get a Frillish, and that is better than the last thing and better than the thing before that, so I'll take it. Not bad. And into this next set. Yeah, 4 sets in this video. I just want to kind of stress that this team is actually super consistent. Charizard is a super consistent lead. You know, it's not a spice pick that, you know, that I'm using because it's fun, even though it very, very much is fun to play. Like, you know, Charizard is a joy to use, and I'm told it's very intimidating to play against. So, yeah, good Pokemon. You're definitely qualified to use it. It's highly ranked on PvPoke. It's been working really well for me, and just wanted to show you as many matchups as I could with this iteration of the team. Yeah, gonna build up as much energy as I can, and gonna throw this Foul Play just before they are able to get to their next Side Shock. They decide to shield, which is surprising to me because I'm definitely gonna be able to outpace them. So it kind of feels like a wasted shield. Get the Foul Play through. Wigglytuff is gonna come out. I definitely do need a switch here, so I'm happy that they were willing to burn a shield off. Alomomola in the back. I've still got my Zard. I have some energy on it. So even though Medicham is not going to be able to beat this Alomomola in the zeros, because Alomomola can actually just go straight Hydro Pump, and it's, you know, is going to nearly take me out. Like, I think I barely survived this. My Medicham, by the way, is not the best ranked Medicham. It is the Hundo at level 43.5. Not actually like the, you know, one of the best buddy rank 1 ones. It's ranked like 700 and something. It's really nothing fantastic. Gonna Wing Attack down the Alomomola before I take any more damage. Wigglytuff is gonna come back out, and I am going to get to my Blast Burn. That is going to take out the Wigglytuff. Very satisfying to Blast Burn the Charmer. And I managed to take that game. That is a GG. Don't want to hurt my eyes staring into a Charizard's Blast Burn. So that's why you need red glasses. Alright, Charizard into Ariados. So switching out into Electrode, and I swap my own Electrode in, which is kind of a mistake. I'm really supposed to send in Medicham. Medicham is not that good against Ariados, and I mean Electrode is like neutral against it, and Medicham has a much more stable matchup against Electrodes than Electrode does. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I do. So they no-shield the Foul Play, and I am going to throw my next Foul Play here. I think this is actually CMPing with them if they were going to throw another Hyper Beam. I guess they weren't throwing. Maybe now they are, because now I'm able to spam out another Foul Play. They're going to shield that one also, and yes, that was a CMP. So I'm actually going to let this go. If it's a Hyper Beam, then they will take me out and have one switch advantage, but I'll have a shield left over. And if that's a discharge, they'll reach another discharge here. I could have no-shielded this, but like decided to just shield since they seem to be fighting for switch. They switch out actively into Ariados, and they're able to get in an extra Poison Sting, which, okay, I guess. Cross Poison goes through, and they get 4 Poison Stings when I get 3 Wing Attacks, which means they're sneaking one through on their own move. I don't know. Sometimes that seems to happen lately. Not super sure why. So yeah, they reach their other Cross Poison. I have been cheated out of 2 Wing Attacks, which means that this Ariados is actually too healthy for Medicham to come out into, and they get the boost, which never helps, so I'm actually forced to send out Electrode and throw this discharge, which is unfortunate because I'm pretty confident that there is an Alomomola back there where I would have really needed that discharge, and there is an Alomomola back there, so yeah. should really have sent Medicham out into the Electrode. I don't know why I keep sending my own Electrode out. I'm just so used to running Slowbro in that slot. I'm just so not used to having something better against Electrode other than my own Electrode. So yeah, I get Hydro Pumped, and that takes me out. Perhaps an actual XL Medicham would be better, like a 5-15-15 or whatever. That would make that matchup better. I don't know that it would be enough to flip it, though. All right, Lickitung in the lead. So this, again, not really the best thing for me. I'm going to switch out into Electrode, and rather than charge up, they switch out right away to Ariados. So that's fine. I'm going to spam out this Discharge as soon as I have it. I want to try to get it out before I get debuffed. And they actually no-shield, which is unusual. And then they undertap and throw their Lunge, and I don't actually manage to sneak in a Volt Switch, which is fine. So they're going to reach another move here. Ariados outpaces, so I'm going to just let it go. And they will Poison Sting me down. So waiting up my switch clock because I don't want Zard to be stuck against Lickitung for too long. Able to wing attack the Ariados down. So now I have a slight energy lead against this Lickitung. I should really just Blast Burn, but I decide to try to bait. Lickitung is really thick, so it would survive a Blast Burn, but end up throwing the Claw, and they no-shield, and there's a Talonflame in the back, so Switch Advantage would have been pretty useful, but if I had to sacrifice like 2 shields to get it, then it would not have been. So Talonflame is going to, throw the Flame Charge. I go straight Psychic, which turns out to be definitely the right move here. They get their moves through a little faster than they're supposed to be allowed to, so I can't actually throw my Ice Punch. I'm just going to have to shield this Flame Charge and counter the rest of the way down. At this point, I should really throw the Psychic, because even though I'm throwing this Ice Punch, I'm probably not going to be able to survive enough licks to get another Ice Punch out. So here I'm going to switch into Zard in case they snuck in a lick, just to preserve as much as I can on Medicham. And going to shield this. They are not in Dragon Claw range by any stretch. Meanwhile, if I had just Blast Burned them, they would have, I think, fainted by now. So, definitely didn't do myself any favors baiting Dragon Claw against the Lickitung. But, sometimes you try to bait and you end up unlucky. And, that's just what happens. That's GG. My opponent played that really well. What can I do? All right. Charizard into Druddigon. So, going to play this out the way I played it before. Just going to lose CMP on the first Dragon Claw. They also could just throw the Night Slash. If it's Night Slash, I would survive it if I no-shielded, but I usually will shield, and just because I know I'll be able to outpace and force the second shield out, or win Switch Advantage, either one of those is fine. So either win the ones, or take both of their shields. And now Medicham's going to be able to come out and farm up a bunch of energy, except that they actively switch out into Slowbro. I'm a little bit slow to the Electrode swap, and which is actually really unfortunate here, because I'm not able to throw my 4th Discharge first. I was hoping that would KO, but Slowbro a little bit too thick. So forced to shield this Psychic, and we are going to see what is going to come back out. Druddigon comes back out. They're going to be able to reach their move here, and I really need to just spam out a charge move as soon as I can if I'm going to retain any health at all on this Electrode. Like, the Dragon Tail hurts so much. Druddigon hits so hard, and he resists these electric-type moves, but so I'm going to throw that, switch out to preserve my Electrode, and I'm able to reach the Psychic with Medicham before they're able to throw their Brave Bird, which is absolutely critical, because now they're low enough that if they throw their Brave Bird, my Volt Switch will go down and take them out. So the only way that they can win this is if they throw a Flame Charge, but it's just not going to be enough to take them out. So they decide to at least Brave Bird, take me out there, and I'm able to Volt Switch down before their Incinerate lands. So that is a GG. Really, really close game, though. That was well played by my opponent also. All right, next up against Rap. Charizard into Ariados. So, seen this matchup quite a few times already. Ariados is a pretty popular lead. This time they actually stay in. I think this is like the last video of this. This is the last battle of this video. Here they finally decide to stay in. So, build with the Blast Burn, and now I'm going to bait the Dragon Claw. If they no-shielded this, I would actually have to shield and then farm them the rest of the way down, or shield and throw another Dragon Claw after farming. So I get the shield, that's fine. Going to shield that, and I'm going to throw this Dragon Claw when they're still 1 away from their cross poison, because if they're going to switch out and make a catch, it would probably be on their cross poison, knowing that's one I would throw. Scrafty comes out, I get some wing attack damage in, which is nice, and they get some energy, which isn't terribly useful for them because I'm going to bring my Medicham out. Not going to shield this, even if they go straight foul play here. It just doesn't do that much damage. Medicham is really thick, and there is a Lickitung in the back. So I guess shielding the foul play would have been nice. Would have been fine. I'm going to go straight Psychic here. They no shield, let it through. That is fine with me. And now I'm going to switch out into Electrode just because I'm going to save my Medicham, because Medicham will be able to counter down Scrafty pretty safely. Going to throw this Body Slam, and I am going to let it go. I should have thrown my Discharge immediately. I don't know why I'm over farming. Like, when am I going to learn that Lickitung gets the Body Slams really, really fast? Come on, Ferrikster. Learn. Going to take them out. Scrafty's going to come out, gets an absolutely perfect amount of farm down, but it's not quite going to be enough. That was 4 counters, and they are at like 9, which would be enough for back-to-back pups, but that wouldn't be enough to take me out, so only makes sense to throw the foul play, and since I had snuck through a counter, they ended up fainting after I shielded that. So yeah, that's GG. So, salvage that set. That is another 3 out of 5. I go up to whatever, and I get a Bayleaf, which is also not a Registeel. So, long video today. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to do the things you know you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. You know what you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. Please do the things. Helps me out a lot. I even asked you earlier. Come on, guys. Anyway, yeah. I'll see you guys when I see you.